going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. But guys, a brand new video today talking about Pokemon Quest and a full comprehensive cooking guide for Pokemon Quest. In this video, I'm gonna be going down all 18 recipes and the variations you can use to attract various Pokemon to your island here in Pokemon Quest. Now, if you haven't tried Pokemon Quest, it's an awesome game. It's totally free to play on the Nintendo Switch, and I can tell you, I didn't like it at first. Like, first trailer, I thought it was really lame, but after I've been playing it, it's super duper fun. You can catch me streaming it on twitch.tv/aDrive if that's your cup of tea. We've been having a blast there over the last couple days. Be sure to like this video if it helps you out, subscribe if you're new, and make sure you bookmark this video because as you're playing through quests, you're gonna wanna be able to hunt for specific Pokemon to finish your decks, and also to get through the different stages, and being able to use the proper recipes to do that is going to be very, very crucial in making that happen. So again, there's 18 different recipes, but there's variations of each recipe that are going to yield you better results. As you can see my shiny Staryu bouncing around at the top of the screen there in the background, which is super duper cool. You can find shinies through using Pokemon Quest, and it seems as though they're pretty random in terms of how they're appearing. What I'd recommend is if you do want to get shinies and you're only focused on shinies, use the lowest level pot, which only consumes 3 ingredients each time. Otherwise, use the higher level pots to get higher level Pokemon. Pretty simple there. Otherwise, a lot of people ask me, how do I get 4 pots? You can actually use the little tickets to buy the expansion pack, essentially, or it's $30 to buy the expansion pack. That'll give you 4 different pots. That'll allow you to cook a lot of different recipes, essentially, and get way more Pokemon. So let's jump into it. So the first thing is the Mulligan Stew a la Cube, which is just a kind of a bunch of random ingredients. This is going to give you a bunch of different Pokemon from Tumblecube Island. It's pretty random. There's no specific thing to it. You might randomly throw a couple ingredients in there and then end up stumbling upon a recipe yourself, but generally it's just a bunch of random ingredients that kind of fuel the Mulligan Stew, and it seems like the Pokemon that appear are pretty much entirely random. Then you have the Red Stew a la Cube, which is a lot of red. So if you combine your Tunny Mushrooms and your Big Roots, that'll give you some red Pokemon. So anytime you do this, you can do a bunch of Tunny Mushrooms, you could do any combination of the two that you really want. That'll give you red Pokemon. So Growlithes and Vulpixes, Charmanders, things like that. Generally, fire type Pokemon fall into this category because they're red. So that's a pretty straightforward answer there. But this is a good recipe for just kind of throwing together some extra ingredients at the very beginning of the game. It's nothing special. It's a pretty easy recipe. And again, you just kind of follow the colors. So very simple. You got the Blue Soda a la Cube, which is for blue Pokemon. So Poliwags and all sorts of water types that kind of fall into this. Squirtle, for example. This is another example of just throwing a bunch of blue ones together. So you can use your Ice Rocks, or you can just use your Bluckberries and kind of combination however you want to. One thing I didn't mention yet is there is that rainbow option as well, number 8. Well, you see I have 8 of them, but it's the 5th one on the top right. Those are just used as substitute ingredients. If you don't have an ingredient that you need, you could throw that in there. But keep in mind that because there's so many recipes, like you may end up trying to aim for one recipe, and then that by substituting that in, it actually ends up giving you a different recipe. So kind of keep that in mind when you're doing that. But this is pretty straightforward to get any blue type Pokemon. You've got the Yellow Curry a la Cube. So this is a good way to get yourself a Pikachu. If you're trying to get one of those, simply just mix in your apricorns and your honey. Honey seems to be a pretty rare resource. I would recommend kind of, focusing more on the apricorns if you're going to go this route. But this will give you yellow Pokemon, like I said, Pikachus, Magnemites, things like that should fall into the yellow category. One thing I will say too that I didn't mention is when you go to choose the level that you're choosing, it does have a little wheel. And on that wheel, it shows you the colors of the items you'll find. So a wheel with like a lot of yellow will yield you more honey and stuff like that. And there are decorations you can use in your base to give you more, like a higher chance to get, honey and yellow stuff and whatever else. Like the Jolteon cushion will give you more potential yellow items like honey. Because I've been using a lot of honey, and you'll see the bug recipe requires a lot of honey because I've been trying to get some cool bug type Pokemon. So then you've got the Gray Porridge a la Cube. So again, a lot of gray. This will get you your Geodudes, your Onyxes, things like that. Just the gray type Pokemon. You can mix in your fossils and your Bone Mushrooms, any combination, or just all fossils, whatever you may want to do. That'll just get you gray Pokemon. So pretty straightforward there. Now we're gonna jump into some of the more complicated recipes here. You've got the Mouth Watering Dip a la Cube, which is going to be the water type one. This will get you your Squirtle, your Magikarps, your Horsies, things like that, your Slowpokes, so on and so forth. So this is going to use a pretty straightforward combination of using your berries and your Tunny Mushrooms. So you can kind of combine those two together, as you can see here displayed, and that shall get you your water types. But there's a series of other water type kind of things you can do here. These all will get you water type Pokemon. You can see this, the recipe with the golden border around it is your 2 berries, your Icy Rock, and your 2 honeys. That is going to get you the best results for a water type. Generally, it'll potentially result in a rarer water type Pokemon. So that's something to keep in mind here, is you'll be able to get, every time you see a gold recipe in this video, that's typically the special or very good recipe, and that'll generally give you a better result in terms of the Pokemon that you're going to find. So that's kind of the water ones right there. You can always reference this back and kind of see all the different recipes to get water types. Here is your normal types here. You've got Snorlax, you've got Porygon, Tauros, Chansey, Kangaskhan, a bunch of different water types. You can use your Blockberries and your fossils as arranged on the screen here to get a very basic recipe to get your normal types, but here is a series of other recipes that'll also get you normal types, including 3 honeys and 2 ball mushrooms being the best recipe, which will hopefully yield you better results to find that Kangaskhan, to find that Porygon, some of the more rarer Pokemon that you can find in this game. So those are your normal recipes. Again, Snorlax can be found. I have found Lapras and things like that through the water ones. You've got the poison recipe here, which is how you get Ghastly. This will also get you Grimer and Coughing and things like that. There's 2 recipes on screen. You've got the 3 tiny mushrooms and the 2 ball mushrooms, or 3 ball mushrooms and 2 tiny mushrooms. That combination is going to get you your poison type Pokemon, your Zubats, and so on and so forth. There's only 2 combinations that I know of. I've referenced both Cerebi.net, my own reference, and Reddit, and these are the combinations that we came to so far, kind of using all those different resources. So this will get you the best results, getting Ekans, things like that in terms of your poison types. So that's pretty cool to know. Moving forward, you've got the Mudpie a la Cube, which is going to get you your ground type Pokemon. So your Diglett, your Onix, your Rhyhorn, all those various ground types. There is some overlap here with this one and the rock type, so just kind of something to note there. But you've got 3 tiny mushrooms, and then you've also got the 2 fossils there. That'll get you your best recipe for the ground types. And then again, here is some other references here for ground types. You've got a lot of different ones, but again, keep in mind the gold ones to get the best results. 3 honeys, 2 icy rocks. You've got the 3 big roots, the 2 icy rocks, a big root, a blockberry, a ball mushroom, a fossil, and an icy rock. Those are going to be your best results there in terms of trying to get yourself a ground type Pokemon, especially some of the rare ground type Pokemon. You know, getting the special and very good kind of recipes out there to find something really solid. Moving forward here, we've got the grass types, Veggie, Smoothie, a la Cube. This is for the grass type Pokemon. Your Bulbasaur, your Oddish, your Tangela, all that stuff. You can use 3 big roots, an apricorn, and a ball mushroom. That'll get you the basic recipe to find those grass type Pokemon in Pokemon Quest. And of course, here's a couple other recipes. And again, note the gold one with the 3 big roots and the 2 apricorns to get the very good or special rating on your recipe, which will hopefully draw in a rarer Pokemon in that situation. Moving forward to number 11, we've got the Honey Nectar a la Cube, which is the one I've been using the most, which is why my honey stores are very low. But the basic recipe is 3 honeys and 2 Blockberries, but the best recipe is 3 honeys, an Icy Rock, and a Blockberry. So keep that in mind there, as you can see. And then another recipe with 2 honeys, an apricorn, and 2 berries. So pretty simple stuff. That's how you get a Scyther. You can get a Pinsir this way. And keep in mind, there is a lot of crossovers. So the bug one and the flying one will both get you Scyther. You know, so Pokemon that have multiple types, Paris, for example, you can find Paris in the grass one, I would imagine. I know you can find them in the bug one because I've got about 10 Paris in my search for a shiny Pinsir, or just a Pinsir in general. I haven't even gotten a Pinsir yet, but it is found through the Honey Nectar, which is the bug favorite. That's the favorite dish of the bug types. You've got the Brain Food a la Cube, which is very important as you get towards the later end of the game, as Psychic types are very crucial there for one of the final stages. You can use 3 berries and 2 apricorns to get yourself an Abra, Mr. Mime, Drowsy, Jinx, as well as found here. This is the only place that you can specify to try to get Jinx. So that's kind of cool to note there. And then I got a couple other recipes here for the Psychic types, a couple different berry variants with the fossil thrown in there. And as you can see, you got 2 berries, 2 apricorns, a honey, and a couple other variants there. So you can see how, like, with all these recipes, like using the wild card item, you can kind of end up trying to get one recipe and then end up with a totally different one because it replaces it out with something else. We've got the stone recipes here. Again, some crossover with the rock types, but this is the way to get Kabuto and Almanite, so that's super duper important to note. You've got your 3 fossils, your 2 apricorns. That'll get you your Aerodactyl, your Kabuto, your Almanite, and so on and so forth. And then again, here is a bunch of other recipes with the 3 icy rocks, the fossil, and the apricorn being the best recipe you can use. But again, feel free to reference this to you know, kind of kind of go back to in case you're doing any of these recipes. You can kind of look at it and say, okay, you know, I have these ingredients, or maybe you're missing some icy rocks, so you say, okay, I want to try to get an Aerodactyl. I can use 2 fossils, 2 apricorns, and a berry. That'll kind of get me what I need to get to. And then kind of moving forward here, we've got the lightest air, which is actually the flying type. Scyther, Aerodactyl, Farfetch'd, as I mentioned, those Pokemon do have some overlap, especially, you know, Aerodactyl, Scyther, they kind of cross over to other ones. You can see the basic recipe being the fossil, the icy rock, 2 big roots and a fossil, or 2 fossils rather, 3 icy rocks and 2 big roots. That's gonna be your best recipe for the lightest air. That should yield you some better results. Farfetch'd is actually a pretty decent early game, but you're gonna want some stronger stuff later game. Scyther is actually really strong, as I've used it quite extensively. And now moving to the fire types here, to get your Magmar, your Ponyta, Growlithe, Vulpix, Charmander, things like that. 3 tawny mushrooms, 2 berries. That will get you the basic recipe there. But I do believe we actually have a couple other recipes for the fire types, as you can see here. The best, which being the 3 mushrooms and the 2 honey, yielding the best results here for the hot pot. That's going to be probably your best bet to get that Magmar, because it seems to be pretty elusive. I got plenty of Vulpixes and things like that, but Magmar seems to be the one that's a little bit trickier to kind of come across. So just kind of something to note there. And then we've got the Risotto a la Cube, which is your electric type. So your Pikachus, your Electabuzz, Magnemites, things of that nature. Again, 2 basic recipes here. The best one being the 2 honey, the big root, the bulb mushroom, and the apricorn. That'll get you your best results in terms of trying to get a rarer Pokemon. But again, it seems like they can kind of appear whenever. That's just the better recipe. You'll get the very good kind of notice, or the special notice. And then almost last but not least, you've got the fighting types, which is your only way to get Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Machop also falls into this group. You've got a couple different recipes there on screen, as you can see. The 2 berries, the honey, the ball mushroom, and the tawny mushroom being the best of the 2. And then last but not least, the legendary recipe. You're gonna need that last item there to get the legendary recipe, which is your mystical shell. I actually haven't gotten them yet, but the way it works very simply is 3 mystical shells and 2 random other ingredients will get you one of the legendary birds: Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. I'm not sure if it works out, so like if you do 3 mystical shells and 2 big roots, you'll get Moltres, and if you do 2 honey, you'll get Zapdos, and you do 2 icy rock, you get Articuno. That's something that makes sense to me, but I haven't tested it, so I have no idea. 5 mystical shells will get you that Mewtwo though. So that's kind of the gist there. That's how you're gonna get your Mewtwo. I'm not sure about Mew. I don't know if Mew falls into that with Mewtwo. I actually haven't gotten that far. As you can see, I don't even have the recipe yet. I've gotten all the other recipes. I've got quite a few hours in the game, but unfortunately, I haven't had time to get all the way through it. That's my goal for today and tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, that's your recipe guide there. Again, feel free to save this video, bookmark it, come back to it, reference it later, so that way you can always, you know, kind of get your recipes going when you're playing the game. Pretty easy to reference. And again, please check out my live stream. I've been streaming it pretty much every day, man. This game is super duper fun. I underestimated it on launch, and it's been a blast to play. So feel free to swing in there. But hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, as I post Pokemon videos every single day. That's gonna be for me, guys. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace. Thanks so much for checking out my last video. If you like that one, you'll definitely like this one. And be sure to subscribe for more, as I post Pokemon videos every single day.